It starts with a sound, deep earth-shaking crash that rips through the night. Then you see, a colossal fist, covered in dark fur, that has punched a crater into the middle of a DC street before you can even process what you're seeing. A massive shadow leaps over a crumpled car, moving with a terrifying, unnatural speed. The shriek of twisting metal is the last thing you hear. Forget politics. The tension in Washington, D.C. tonight is primal. There on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, a titan roars into the cold night air. It's Kong, a legendary ape of impossible size, blending raw power with a keen, thinking mind. But he's not alone. Across the reflecting pool, the challenger howls its answer. A werewolf. And no, this isn't some backwoods creature from folklore. This beast is a 40-foot-tall nightmare of muscle and rage. Its eyes burning with cunning and its fangs dripping with hunger. Of course, you won't find this fight in any history book. This is a clash of titans that has no business being in our world, a battle that could only be dreamed up. The two monsters lock eyes, the air between them crackling with pure hatred. The werewolf makes the first move. It covers the ground in a few heart-stopping leaps, a blur of gray fur and slashing claws. It's a classic matchup, speed against strength. The wolf lunges for Kong's throat, but the great ape is deceptively fast. He snatches the monster right out of the air, and their collision sends shockwaves trembling through the ground. They crash into the reflecting pool, and the fight is on. The battle spills from the memorial onto the National Mall, turning the historic park into a war zone. The city itself becomes their arsenal. The werewolf, impossibly agile, tears huge chunks of earth from the ground and hurls them like cannonballs. Kong answers by ripping a lamppost from its concrete base and swinging it like a brutal metal club. They carve a trench through lawns and toppled trees that have stood for a century. The fight rolls toward the museums, in the front of the National Museum of Natural History crumbles as the werewolf is slammed against its stone facade. But this wolf doesn't stay down, where Kong's fists leave deep wounds and gashes. The werewolf's flesh just knits itself back together. Its healing ability is as monstrous as its size. Sensing an opening, it unleashes a new weapon. The beast arches its back and lets out a sonic howl. The sound isn't just loud. It's a physical weapon, shattering windows for blocks. Kong roars in pain, clutching his ears. For a moment, the werewolf has the advantage, and it lunges, sinking its fangs deep into Kong's shoulder. The great ape stumbles, and for the first time it looks like he might actually lose. But then, something shifts. Wounded and reeling, Kong's eyes land on the Washington Monument. With a defiant roar, he braces himself, digs his fingers into the foundation, and cracks the stone. Fueled by rage and adrenaline, he rips the entire monument from the ground. The sight is apocalyptic. A giant ape wielding the iconic obelisk like a colossal spear. The final brutal act of this war plays out on the lawn of the U.S. Capitol. The werewolf, overconfident in its healing powers, charges head-on. But Kang is thinking. He's not just swinging the monument wildly. He's using it with tactical precision. He parries the wolf's attacks, using the pointed tip to block and the immense weight to pin the beast's claws to the ground. It's no longer just a brawl. It's a test of Kong's intelligence against the werewolf's relentless savagery. Frustrated, the werewolf goes for one last desperate leap, aiming for a killing blow. This is the moment Kong was waiting for. He drops the monument and catches the beast in midair with both hands. Ignoring the slashing claws and snapping teeth, Kong channels all of his legendary strength into one final act. He pries the creature's jaws apart until, with a sickening crack that echoes across the ruined city, it's all over. Kong stands panting over his defeated enemy, wounded and bleeding, surrounded by the wreckage of their war. He pounds his chest, not in a blind rage, but in a clear declaration of his victory. The king has won. He turns his back on the carnage and lumbers away, vanishing into the smoke and dust. The battle for Washington, D.C. might be over, but the world of monsters is bigger than we ever imagined. So who should fight next? What epic clash should we witness? A kraken in the Potomac River? A dragon nesting on the White House? Tell us in the comments, what's the next great battle? One titan walks away, leaving a devastated city in his wake. The legend of King Kong has a new, violent chapter written in stone and steel. And the world has a terrifying new question to answer. What other monsters are out there, just waiting for their turn?